Hey, how you doing, my brother? What's your name, King?
Eric.
Eric? Nice to meet you, my brother. Adino. You know what we teach? You kind of heard somewhat?
Israelites.
That we are the Israelites. Do you believe it?
Yes.
Hey, all praises to the Most High God. And why, let me ask you, why do you believe it?
Well, think about it, right?
Right.
So whether the sun is like this in the peninsula around, or the sun is a moon in the peninsula around it, whoever's on this earth is gonna be bronze skin. It's because the sun's like a oven.
Okay.
And like we're like the red, right?
Right.
So whoever's like the people of the earth, we're gonna be the bronze skin.
You're absolutely right. You know what you stating is out of the Bible, right? Watch this. I'm gonna show you something. Give me Genesis 2:7.
Bring it out.
That's heavy that you said that in an analogy that you anything. Think about it. Can white people make black people? No, never. You never seen it. But can we? You best believe it. We call them albinos.
Started the earth, right?
Right. You watch this. I'm gonna show you something from the very beginning. Watch this.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
God says, I formed man from the dust of the ground. Meaning the deeper you go, the darker it gets.
Right.
The dust, the ground is brown. And the deeper you go, it gets darker and darker. So that's going to align to what you just said. Everybody comes from us. Every race.
Hey, bro, take a flyer
So
real
that's what
quick.
we out here to do. Watch this. But in fact, give me that in you said something, because I asked you a question. I said, how can you prove that we are the people of God? I want to give you the ammo, the weapons that you would need to show that. Because you believe. You said, man, I believe. So now you need the weapons. This is the key. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter is the key. Watch this. Huh? We about to give it to you. Watch this. Give me Deuteronomy 1:1.
Bring it out.
Got it?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness.
This be God talking to who?
Like that. I like that.
All Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness.
So this be God talking to all Israel on this side of Jordan. So who is he talking to? All Israel. So that kills our world. Let's switch off. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. Yeah. There you go.
Listen to us, bro.
So he's speaking to the Israelites.
So what do we gotta do?
Hey, how you doing, my brother? What's your name?
Hawk.
Nice to meet you, Adino. Well, we out here teaching that we've been lied to as a race of people.
So he know who he is.
You know who we are. All praises. You know who we are. How did you know who we are?
Study and just had a feeling about it.
Wow. Wow, you've been studying, kind of had a feeling. What you been studying?
The book of Deuteronomy.
Oh, heavy.
The ancient Hebrew Israelites want to know our heritage.
Why?
Haplogroup B1, B1A.
You been on it.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
You've been searching for truth.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, watch this real quick. Give me an 8:32, John 8:32. We're going to keep going now. Watch this, y'all. Watch this, John 8:32.
This is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
God says, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we shall know the truth, and the truth shall set us free.
Right.
What is the truth? The truth is that we've been lied to as a nation of people.
That's
We've been
right.
told that all we can do is dunk a basketball and run a football. We've been told that we was just rappers, game bangers. That's why you see every time on TV, what we doing? Running the football, or the women are half naked, shaking their behinds, entertaining, cooning. We call it cooning. That's what we are doing. But God says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The truth that we are the Israelites and that we are above all people.
That's right.
Heavy. Deuteronomy 7:6.
Bring it out.
This book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art the holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So God says above all people that's on the planet Earth. That's heavy. That's heavy. God said, I chose you, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be above all people. How do that make you feel?
Like I have more to give myself. I don't know.
Now you understand why you think different. Now you understand why things are not lining up. It's the reason, like the brother said, man, I've been searching, something ain't right. I've been searching all my life. Even the word African American. Let's start there.
Yeah, that's naming two different continents. We are the chosen one.
You right.
Yeah,
A matter of fact, I know I was born in 81. I know you older than me. That term wasn't used until 1985.
they changed our names from Negro to color.
There you go.
African American and all those different names.
Every decade seems like if they turning out, changing our nationality. Why is that? They want to hide the truth that you are the chosen people of God.
That's right.
That you are the biblical Israelites. You got to understand, if you are great people and you're supposed to rule, what I'm going to do? I'm not going to let you know that.
Right.
I got to keep you in the midst of sin, keep you in all types of foolishness,
Right.
that way you'll never find out.
First Ezra 5.
Doom days are over.
First Ezra 5.
Doom days are over. Watch this. What you got for me?
Hindering us building. First Ezra 5 and 72.
Okay, watch this.
This book of 1 Ezra chapter 5 verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judah.
If y'all notice or not, the heathens has always been the enemies of the Israelites. The heathens, what the Bible is talking about, the other nations.
Right.
The other nations. Let's hold that right quick. Give me Psalms 83 and 1, and then we're going to come back to it. All nations. A lot of people like to say, oh man, the Esau, the Caucasian man is our enemy. God says all nations.
That's right.
Crafty counsel against us.
There you go. That's what we're about to get. They took crafty counsel. One of the crafty counsels is calling you outside your God-given name.
Right.
Yeah.
We ain't got no boat. How we getting these guns in our neighborhoods?
That those nations are called us bywords.
You absolutely right. Watch this.
This book of Psalms chapter 83 verse 1. Keep not silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken.
It says, thy enemies have making tumult. What is that?
I want you to tell me.
I got you. Have you ever seen one of those conference tables? You got all the nations. They'll come together and they'll talk about you. How to keep you in the midst of sin. A tumult is an angry gathering.
Right.
Turn Confederate against us.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But they had a conference about it.
Yeah.
Remember, the guy says they think deep.
Let us make Israel no more.
There you go. Watch this.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
That's why your name is called what? African Americans. What's your last name?
Name of an Englishman.
The English. What? Yeah.
The Bantu tribe, as far as I know.
Now, what you was born with? What they gave you?
Oh, they gave us slaves.
What's your last name? Hawkins?
Yes.
Hawkins Plantation. What's yours? Rod?
R-Y-E.
Rye White?
R-Y-E.
Rye.
Right.
Wow. Rye Plantation. These are not our God-given name. I guarantee you it's a receipt from the plantation. Look it up. Find it out. I guarantee you it's going to go back to a plantation.
Right.
What you got? I see you like thinking like, man.
Like,
Uh-huh.
a lot of names, last names,
Uh-huh.
English names anyway.
That you absolutely right. Because the Dutch had, no, not the Dutch, but the Spaniards, who else?
8 years.
Brits. All these is people that had our people as slaves at one point in time.
All I know
Actually,
is
English is a broken language.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
all I know
we
is
speak Hebrew.
English is a curse, I know.
You absolutely right. That's what we're supposed to speak, but we have that all taken. And we're going to get to that. Read.
Verse 4. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
They said what?
Come, let us cut them off from being a nation.
He said, let us cut them off from being the nation, from being the greatest people on the planet Earth. Read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel will be no more in remembrance. Nobody's saying the Israelites. They may say Jewish. Oh, they wish they was the Jew. But what happened to the rest of the tribes? Where they go? Didn't God say, I'm going to put the Israelites in their own land and not the United Nations? Something ain't right. Somebody is lying. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. Read.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Read.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
What they say.
They are confederate against thee.
They hate you see the murders in our communities? Of course we doing it, but who is pushing the music? We don't own no music station. Who is the producers? Who are not the producers, but the record companies? What's the radio station? What's the TV shows? Why every time I turn on the TV, a black man got his pants sagging from his behind, he got a gun out, he think about his murder, murder, murder. The synagogues of Satan, the man said it. Amalek, Jewish. They own it, go look it up. NBC, ABC, Fox News.
Right.
The Roth family, so on and so on. We don't own none of that. Why they, now that's Semitic, that's being, what they call it, anti-Semitic. You pushing our communities this music, but guess what? If you say something about the homosexual, they'll cancel you. Why they don't cancel this music?
I gotta go, brother, but you're right. We are Semitic by origin.
You absolutely right. The so-called white man. He said, Edom, who else?
And the Ishmaelites of Moab.
Ishmaelites, Moab, Arabs, Chinese, read.
And the Hagarenes.
Africans, read.
Gabal and Ammon. And Amalek. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
So all these nations was confederate against us. They said, you know what? Let's cut them off from being a nation, for being the greatest people on the planet Earth.
Right.
But remember, God is operating, God is in control of everything. Keep that in mind. He did it for a reason. Give me that in songs about God made the heathens a belt to whoop us. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
God uses the other nations as a belt. Kind of like your parents when you used to get in trouble, and they'll use the belt and they'll whoop you. But then when they finish and they get you right, they'll put the belt up. That's what God is using for the other nations. He said, I'm going to use these people as a belt to whoop you into place.
This is the book of Psalm, chapter 17, verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword.
Who is the wicked? He says, deliver thy soul from the wicked. Huh? That you darn right. You absolutely right. You know what scripture says that? Malachi, watch this. We're going to get it. That's good. You know that. Watch this.
This book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
This is during the Renaissance time. This is when they came back into power. They said, you know what? We shall rebuild. Right? Read.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down.
This is how you know that the Most High God is a black man. Who talk like that? We talk like that. I'm going to throw down. You step on my shoes again, I'm going to throw down. That's a black man speaking. Read.
They shall call them the border of wickedness.
Call Edom what?
The border of wickedness.
Go back.
This book of Psalm, chapter 17, verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked.
The wicked is who?
Esau.
Which is thy sword.
God says the wicked is thy sword. God is using the other nations to punish us.
Only if we don't go back to the commandments.
There you go. As long as that's why when we come out and teach, we teach the commandments of God.
Right.
That you are the chosen people of God, that we are the Israelites.
Right.
Because as long as we keep talking about we African Americans and we act like thugs and gangsters, God is going to keep putting that belt on our behind them.
That's right.
The more we work for Esau, 9 to 5.
Right.
You're literally accessory to destroying the Most High every day.
You darn skippy. That's a good point.
By everything you do, driving their cars, wearing their clothes, working for them, you're destroying the Most High.
Watch this. Let me show you something. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 48. It's a curse. That's a curse. That's a curse to have to go to the other nations and get a loan. You can't even get a house without going through them. You can't even get buried in the ground without going through them. You can't even get a car without going through them.
Right.
You don't even get water or toilet paper to wipe your behind unless you go through them. Think about it. If they stop selling you toilet paper, where you gonna get it? We don't make no factories, anything to make toilet paper. We ain't got no control over the water company. Watch this.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore, thou shalt serve thine enemies.
God says we gonna serve who?
Thine enemies.
Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst.
God says, I'm going to send Edom against you in hunger and in thirst. Don't you see that today? Who owns Family Dollars? Let's just look around. Who owns Circle K? Circle K is our black neighborhoods, especially in Shreveport. Who owns it? We don't own it. Read.
And in nakedness.
In nakedness, in clothing. Read.
And in want of all things.
You see that? He says in the want of all things, your health care. Who do you go through? Blue Shield, Blue Cross, whatever. Most of us have. You know what I'm saying? This is us. This is what's happening to us. God says your enemies, Esau is going to be our sword, along with the other nations. Black folks only own a barber shop, maybe a tire shop. Issachar or something like that, Hispanics. But that's the only thing we own. We don't own much. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
Uh-oh. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee. And say the pictures says 1,000 words. This is us live in effect. But you know that. You know this. So what must you be doing? You heard the curses before.
I got a bookmark on myself.
You do? Let me give you one. Let me give you a commandment.
Let me give you one.
Okay, go ahead. What you got?
So, to rebuke the sinner, Esau is the sinner, Lucifer is the sinner. If you rebuke them, everything is undone, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Say that again?
So, every commandment, right, it's like an omnibus, bro. It's going to reflect against all things, you know what I'm saying? Like, rebuke the sinner is one of them, you know what I'm saying? So, if you rebuke Esau, Edom, devils, demons, Lucifer, Satan, come on, you doing the...
Watch this. Let me show you something. Give me Daniel's 9 real quick. 9 and 12. Yeah. You got to understand, the laws, and you say rebuke the sinner. What is sin?
Pride, wrath, envy.
I got to show him that too. Give me that. Go to that first. Let's see what sin is. 1 John 3 and 4. And then we're going to come back to that. Let's show him real quick. Watch this. Hey, we need you over here, brother. We need some soldiers. Right. You a soldier of the Lord.
I'm a king, bro.
You a king. You absolutely right.
The Most High said, I'm just like him.
You darn right. You look just like him too. I like that attitude. But watch this. Let's see what sin is.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
So sin is breaking what?
The law.
Breaking the law, the God's laws. That's what sin is. Watch this. Give me that. He showed his word unto Jacob. Yeah, Psalms 1:19. Watch this. Because you said Edom, you say Edom. Watch this. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna come full circle back to that. Watch this.
This is the book of Psalms chapter 147 verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation.
He had not did what?
He has not dealt so with any nation.
It says he have not dealt so with any nation. Who did he give the laws and commandments to?
Jacob.
He gave it to Jacob, which is who?
Israelites.
The patriarch of the 12 tribes of Israel. Remember, he didn't deal so with any nation. So when you talk about sin, you talking about us. Because we're the only people that can sin. Because the laws and the commandments of God was given unto us to keep.
Right.
Actually, Lucifer was the spark of sin. That's the sin of iniquity. It's in the Bible.
You say he's the what?
Hillel was the spark of iniquity, which is sin.
Which is sin. We just read what sin is.
I know, yeah. So it's basically iniquity, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
Hebrew and the Most High be equity, right? Balance, light, right? Lucifer, Edom is iniquity. That's sin.
That's sin.
We're not sin. Going against the Most High made us sin. Hillel, Lucifer was the first one to sin.
So sin is breaking God's commandments, right? Let's keep it simple. Breaking God's commandments. So who did he give the commandments to? He gave it to the Israelites. Let's just say Israelite. Hebrew is just the language. So let's just say Israelites, right? He gave it to us. Read that one more time for him. Let's keep it simple. 148.
This book of Psalms chapter 147 verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them.
They have not known them. You see what I'm saying? So the commandments of God was given to us to keep the Israelites. So you going into Satan. Satan is just, you know what I'm saying, he does God's will. Watch it, give me that in 45 and 7. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Keep in mind, you got good angels on the right hand of God, and you got bad angels on the left hand of God. God created all of them to do his will and his work. You believe that?
Angels don't exist.
Angels don't exist?
They're called messengers.
Watch this.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
See, God says, he says, I do all these things. Watch this, I'm going to show you something. Did we find that yet? About the evil angels?
Psalm 78:49.
78:49. Find the one in Apocrypha too. It's one in the Apocrypha. It's needed in Sirach 45, something like that. Find that for me. You got it?
Yes, sir. This book of Psalm, chapter 78, verse 49. He casts upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them.
Oh, by sending what?
Evil angels among them.
Evil angels amongst them. The same thing happened to Saul. When you go into the history of Saul, what happened to Saul? Saul became envious of David. It kept saying that an evil spirit came upon him. When you read the history, and persuaded him to hate David.
39:28. Sirach 39:28.
Watch this. Let's show you again. Sirach 39. Watch this. I agree with you when you say the angels, depending on what the context about it being Israel. You know what I'm saying? But watch this.
This book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance.
Uh-oh. God says there be spirits that be created for vengeance, right? Read.
Which in their fury lay on sore strokes in a time of destruction. They pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them.
And who made them? God made them. Read.
Fire and hail.
Fire and hail. Read.
Famine and death.
Uh-oh, famine is another one. Did we not just have a famine not too long ago?
Sister, I get a flyer.
Shoot, that's what God said. I created all these things. It's in his purpose and in his will. Read.
All these were created for vengeance.
All these was created for what?
For vengeance.
That's how God uses. He said, you know what? I'm going to use my angels and they're going to do their will. I got good ones. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, they're going to protect you. If you're doing not what you're supposed to do, guess what? They're going to jack you up. I got ones that's going to take care of business.
Right.
Hey, give me that in 1 Samuel about the angels being around in heaven and one tempted Saul. Find it. I think it's in 1 Samuel, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. Watch this.
About the council day.
Yeah, they came to council. Watch this. This is going to be heavy right here.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 18, verse 18. Again, he said, therefore, hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing at his right hand.
Uh-oh. So God said he see God standing on his throne, and all the host. Who is the host?
Is it like the lion?
Nah, the host is the angels. Yeah, the angels. Yeah, you got good angels. Remember what I was saying before? You got good angels on the right hand, and you got bad angels on the left hand. Read.
And all the hosts of heaven standing at his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one sang after this manner, and another sang after that manner. Then there came out a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit.
He shall be what?
A lying spirit.
He shall go out, which this is the devil. I will go out and be a lying spirit. And to go get him. So that's what I'm saying. The evil, you got good angels and you got bad angels to prove the point. He sent them angels out on our behind too. That's why we went on those cargo slave ships.
Right.
That's why we got jacked up. Give me that in Numbers 15:38. Because you say you be keeping the commandments. You keep the Sabbath?
See, I kind of believe, like, that I know that God is blessing me, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
The most I got. So if I'm everything like him, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, I know I'm evil, you know, like I'm bronze skin, have like wool, but before like the physical realm, earth, the Most High was light and darkness. So I'm more like celestial than physical, even though I'm physical. You know what I'm saying?
Let me show you that God is physical also. Give me that in Daniels. Let me show you. The God is, you talk about it, you know what I'm saying? But let me show you. Let's just show you. Watch this.
This book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Who is the Ancient of Days? It says, and the Ancient of Days did sit. You know who that is? The Most High. You're right, the Most High. It says, because he before time. The Ancient of Days, he was before time. Read.
Whose garment was white as snow.
To have a garment, what you have to have? You have to have a body. To have a garment, you have to have a body. Watch this, read.
And the hair of his head like the pure wool.
You said it just like you. You got the pure wool on your head right now. It says like the pure wool. Read.
And his throne like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
Uh-oh, and his wheels. Who talk like that? Black people. You see my wheels out there, man? It's clean, boy. God was a black man. Let's talk about the chariots. His wheels. Yeah. Watch this. Hold on. Stay where you at. Yeah.
This book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
So he did sit. To sit, you gotta have a what? You gotta have what? To be able to sit, you gotta have a body. So we all spirit, yeah, but guess what? We in a vessel. We're in this vessel right now to get us around. So God had a body. There you go. So watch this. Go back over to, what you got? You holding something?
I got keep the commandments to get to the kingdom, and I got Numbers 15.
Give me Numbers 15:38. Let's get into these commandments. I want to show you a commandment.
Bring it out.
Because you know you Israel. You know you Israelite. But watch this.
This book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38. Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the border a ribbon of blue.
That he put on the fringe. Right here, this is fringes, and a ribbon of blue fringes, right? What is it for, though?
And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them.
And do what?
And do them.
So that's why we put the fringes on. That way we can look down and be like, man, I gotta, you know, we may see Big Booty Judy walking down the street. And then we gotta be able to know, I shouldn't lust after my sister.
Not to indulge in evil sights and thoughts.
Right. That's exactly right. That's what they here for, to remember. To remember. Where your fringes at?
I bought him a Zuzu one.
Zuzu, you bought the Zuzu ones? The Zuzu ones is the...
I bought him a Zuzu. Like a thing you hang on your doorpost.
Oh, now you need them on your garments. Read that again.
This book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38. And speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the border of their garments throughout their generations.
Hold on. Through they want it what?
Throughout their generations. That they make them fringes in the border of their garments.
On the borders of their garments. So we have to put them on our clothing. You see what I'm saying? You see what, not what I'm saying, but what the Bible is saying. So that's what we got to do. We got to put fringes on. Give me that Deuteronomy 10 and 12. Because you know you're an Israelite. You've been knowing for a while, you know, say you've been studying. But guess what? You got to get around like-minded people.
Right. This book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee?
Now, God is asking you, what do he require of thee now? That you know you're in Israel, because we went into slavery because we disobeyed his commandments. So it's just like, if I do something wrong, guess what? I have to confess my sins, I have to confess my faults, and then I got to do right. I got to change it.
And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
For thy what?
For thy good.
For the commandments is our good. The whole reason we ain't supposed to be in this state. You agree? We, like you said, we're supposed to be kings on this earth. But we at a lower state right now because we disobeyed God. We're not keeping his commandments and statutes. You understand what I'm saying? So if I repent from that, guess what I gotta start doing? Keeping the commandments.
So commandment 334. So in order to be kings back on the earth, you gotta destroy Edom again. You gotta destroy Satan. And
Destroy Edom?
It's one commandment that destroys him.
And what is that?
Not to suffer anyone practicing witchcraft to live. Everything on this planet is of witchcraft.
Deuteronomy 18.
Everything of this planet is of witchcraft. This commandment destroys.
But Christ is going to destroy Edom. Eventually we'll come into play. We got to get right. We're going to go back in the wilderness if you know it or not, brother. That is coming.
Do you think the Most High don't have an undo button? Like, do you think he want his people to be doing all that?
Bro, right now we just it's like a movie. We are just acting everything out.
Right.
Everything is already foretold. Everybody is playing a role, and you know it or not. You don't think that's the case?
I don't think the Most High, bro, I don't think he will want to kill any of his people.
Yeah, he don't want to, but he will, and he have. He don't want anybody to perish, but he will.
Zechariah.
He said 3/5. There you go. Give me that in Zechariah. What is that? Zechariah
12 and 8.
12 and 8.
13 and 8.
Watch this. Here we go.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I'll bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined.
So he's saying 2/3 is gonna get put to death. That means out of every 3 people, 2 people is gonna die.
What I'm saying is, why would they make so? Why would the Most High make you though? Like, what's the whole thing? Like, you don't think he don't? So,
Go ahead. I got you trying to articulate the words. I got you. I'm listening to you.
like, why would the Most High make us if he was just gonna destroy us?
You know what? I got you. Give me that in 2nd Ezra 7. Remember, we was never meant to be servants. We was never meant to die. We was supposed to be immortal.
Right.
But guess what happened? Sin came into the world by who?
And live.
Nah, by who? Remember what happened in the garden. What happened? Yeah.
And live himself, Lucifer himself.
Lucifer. Okay. And who else? Who else? The woman. Eve, exactly. Eve, you know what I'm saying? She brought sin in. The Bible would tell you that. And we're going to get there too.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 7. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
So now he's giving you a description of a place. He said this place, he's talking about the kingdom. It's set in a place, you got water on one side, and you got fire on the other. Read.
And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once.
Because I can tell you it's going to be on you to take heed to the commandments. I can't get you in the kingdom myself. I can tell you, but it's going to be on you to get in. Read.
If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my...
like you just said, for their sakes I made the world. For Israel's sake I made the world. Read.
And when Adam transgressed my statutes...
When who?
Adam transgressed my statutes.
Read.
Then was decreed that now is done.
That the decree which now is done. What is that decree?
Sin, right?
Death. Death was the decree.
Right.
We was never meant to die. We was meant to be gods on this earth. When Adam transgressed the decree of death, Adam, you gonna die. Eve, you gonna die. Death came into the world. Read.
Verse 11. Because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrows and travail.
This world was made of what?
Full of sorrows and travail.
Since Adam sinned, this world is painful. It was never meant to be that way. Like you said, we was meant to be kings on this earth. But since he transgressed the commandments of God, we getting jacked up.
What is a nation?
Someone refused to say
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation